I have to tell you, Colin, from your perch in Chicago, Caleb Williams major leap in his first season under Ben Johnson. But despite Caleb leading the Bears to their first playoff win in 15 years, Johnson told the Chicago Sun-Times Williams' development is just getting started. He wants Caleb's completion rate to go way up. He's also looking for Caleb to balance that, like, street ball, off-script play thing with a little bit more of staying in the pocket, quick releases, on-script kind of things. I love this about Ben Johnson, right? You want a guy who is holding everyone to the highest possible standard. What's your standard for Caleb in year 3? What do you think he's going to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. The Bears have never had a great quarterback. And so people in this town, when I'm outside during the football season, they're very protective of Caleb Williams. They're like, you guys are brutal. He's unbelievable. I'm like, you do understand anything I say, Ben Johnson's 5 times harder.
Oh. Yes.
And the truth is, it's like golf. And, even Tiger Woods in his prime, it's like you need a great coach. Mm-hmm. And I think what was always Tom Brady's always a great comp here on how to do it, which is Tom Brady, after 4 Super Bowls, would go to Costa Rica with his wide receivers in the offseason. Constant repetition and mechanics. So the good news for Caleb is if 10 is an amazing play and 1 is basic footwork, we know that 7, 8, 9, 10, only Josh Allen can do what he can do in the league. His stuff to work on is stuff he can work at. You can't make a guy bigger. You can't make a guy faster. You can improve footwork. Mm-hmm. You can improve accuracy. And so, it's the best kind of young quarterback. The stuff to work on is just repetition makes you better stuff, not I wish you could bench press more and throw it further. Like, that stuff's done. He's got a power arm. And I think, honestly, even more, it's like he's a stronger Lamar or a smaller Josh. Yeah. He's off script. He's just a different ballgame.
Yeah. Well, first of all, on behalf of Jim McMahon, let me say, how dare you, sir? But also, look, the completion percentage is really going to be a big factor for Caleb. Ben has told him he wants him to be at the 70% mark. Drake May was at 72%. Caleb this past season, 58%, ranked 22nd in the league there. So I think that's going to be a big thing. Ben told the Sun-Times he's going to show Caleb 100 plays where he could have been more accurate, and that does not include wide receiver drops. So I think it's going to be a fun summer for those guys. And I love Williams. I think he's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Unbelievable. Honestly, I feel completely vindicated right now, because I've been putting out video after video talking about how Caleb needs to improve his precision, and so on. He needs to stick to the script more, execute those designed plays, because if he does that, it's all over. The Chicago Bears will be incredibly dominant, and their offense will become unstoppable. And sure, like Colin said, a ton of fans responded with, "You're out of your mind. What are you even saying? Look at all those dropped passes by the wide receivers. Quit putting this on him." And then we hear directly from Ben Johnson. I've always said, look, I'm just telling you what Ben Johnson would essentially be telling Caleb Williams. That was a poor throw. You got fortunate that it wasn't picked off, etc. And now, this is exactly what Ben Johnson is going to be doing. And let's not forget, we're only at the very beginning of his development. This is what competent coaches do. This is real accountability, on full display. When I talk about Lamar Jackson needing to be held accountable, and so forth, these are exactly the kinds of things I mean. Being answerable for your actions. Being answerable for your actions. And I can assure you, Ben Johnson is going to pull up plays that were actually caught successfully. I guarantee it, even touchdowns. He'll say, yeah, you scored a touchdown here. But guess what? 1, it was the incorrect read. 2, the throw was off target. 3, we got genuinely lucky that this worked out the way it did. Right? I promise you those moments will happen. It won't just be when Caleb sails the ball over someone's head and Johnson says, you need to be more accurate there. Because Caleb will respond, yeah, buddy, I know. I know. So this kind of approach is fantastic. Like, if you're a Chicago Bears supporter, if you're a Caleb fan, this ought to get you pumped. You should be thinking, yes. My team finally has a real coach. We've got a guy. We've got someone who is completely obsessed with the tiny details. Let's go. That's exactly what you need. That's the accountability you require. This is huge. This is what genuinely matters. This is the dividing line between being good, great, elite, special, and historic. We can talk all we want about the Iceman cometh and all that. None of it means anything, honestly, until you start doing this kind of work. And I had said earlier that the Bears left roughly 1 touchdown per game on the field. And that was driven by Caleb's mistakes. Clean up some of those issues, and it's simply over. Your offense becomes so overwhelmingly dominant and unstoppable. It's finished. The rest is just hoping the defense doesn't become a liability. Just make the plays in the big moments for the most part, and you're fine. You're ready to go, man. You're set. You become a perennial Super Bowl contender. The only remaining variables are health, and like I said, just don't mess up in the critical moments, and you'll be HT there. And then it comes down to, do you execute in those moments? And if you do, you're a Super Bowl champion. It can honestly become that simple. So that's what I was trying to say about Caleb last year, seeing the growth, seeing the progress, seeing the excitement. I said before that season even kicked off, this is a rookie year for me, as far as Caleb is concerned. This is his first season. I'm completely willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's going to be rough. There will be problems, etc. But it was just that there were games they won, there were games where Caleb did some spectacular things, yet I thought, that wasn't really a solid performance. And there were games where his box score looked amazing, he put up a million stats, and I said, that actually wasn't a good game by Caleb. And it's tough to operate in that space, because you're always making someone unhappy, right? You're constantly frustrating people. But that's the reality. It truly is. And your head coach recognizes that. And that is so incredible. I mean, seriously, that is absolutely incredible. It really is. Like, when I hear this, it gets me fired up. It excites me so much, because it's also not just generic motivation. Because I can't think of an example right now, but you know where Ben Johnson is going to show him 100 video clips, 100 throws, I suppose, where he could have been more accurate. And first of all, you have a coach who is going through all of that detail, which is great. But there are other versions of that approach that coaches use that don't really matter. They don't land effectively, or they won't make a real difference. Again, I can't think of a decent example right now, but you get a coach who says, I showed film of Rocky, or whatever, to make everyone realize how tough it is, how you have to be resilient, and it's like, yeah, that's cool, I guess. Or like, I showed Kobe Bryant highlights. And it's like, okay, there's nothing wrong with that kind of stuff. It can be cool, interesting, exciting, some of that stuff is emotional and can fire you up, sure. So there's nothing inherently wrong with it. But, you know, I always talk about coach speak, and there's a spectrum. Some of that sounds good. Especially if you've never played and you're watching from the outside, you think, oh, that's cool. But at the end of the day, you need the stuff that truly counts. You need the things you can honestly say, this will make me better. This will make me a superior football player. Not work harder, not be more inspired, not be more motivated, not be more focused. What, from the most fundamental, elemental perspective, is actually going to improve me as a football player? It's this stuff right here, man. It's exactly this. Not everyone possesses that. Some of those great coaches that people love don't always have this kind of approach. They don't always bring this type of energy. Now again, it's also about how you thread the needle and how you stick the landing, right? Because you have to be smart about how you do it, you can go too far. You can take it to a place where you make the player uncomfortable, too tight, too rigid, and then he feels like he can't make any mistakes. I talk about this a lot. I need to play for a coach where I feel I could make a million mistakes and still have that support. That's what brings out my best. I need to feel somewhat free. I need the freedom to mess up, or if I do make a bad throw, I'm not going to get yelled at, what are you doing? Because I already know I made a bad throw. I don't need that in the moment. I need you to basically say, oh, whatever. It was a bad throw. I know you'll be fine next time. That's the kind of support I personally need, not everyone needs that. Everyone is different, right? So it's just different people require different coaching styles. But I do need a coach who delivers answers. A coach who focuses and says, this is what you need to work on. This is your area to improve. This is what we're zeroing in on. This is what we're attacking right now. That's what you have. It is awesome. I cannot emphasize that enough. So, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And if you're a Chicago Bears fan, you should sleep easy knowing that you have someone who is not only paying attention to the fine details, but is also holding his players accountable to the highest possible standard. You should absolutely love it. But those are just my thoughts. I would genuinely love to hear yours. What do you all think about Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears? Just the idea that they are only beginning his development, his accuracy, playing more on script, more on time. Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree, either way, let's start some discussions. Let's get into some debates, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you become part of it. I want to create something we all feel genuinely connected to. Something we're really excited to belong to. I think we're well on our way to doing that. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, it really helps with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.